I have developed a TV show called Elevator Pitch, a podcast called The Playbook. I have 4 best-selling books. I speak around the world. I have an executive business coaching, a top practice to help inspire business coaching. I'm the Chief Chancellor of Junior Achievement University to inspire young entrepreneurs, 15 to 25 years old. I am the chairman of Unstoppable Foundation. Everything I do has 3 objectives. I like to make a lot of money so I can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. The ultimate entrepreneurs, the ones that are most successful, must be what they can be. They wake up every morning and they must be what they can be. They enjoy the consistent, persistent, and they don't ever think of a word named sacrifice. They only think of the word called investing in themselves. One thing more important than the family ecosystem, and that's your solo ecosystem. And I've shifted that perspective in my life. So I spend a minimum of 1 hour a day on my health, my personal health, for me, before anything else, before I spend time with my family, before I try to make money, before I do anything charitable. Because my wife told me, I came to her after I lost everything and made it back. I said, I would not be here but for you. You are my superhero. You are not perfect, but you are perfect for me. What can I do for you? And she said, take care of yourself.
David, hi, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
You got it, my friend. Thank you.
You know what? I'm sorry. My girls were supposed to join me. I'm in New Delhi right now. They're in Vancouver, and I was not able to go there. They were not able to come here. So therefore, and with the whole new world order right now, they joined me on every single interview. But they sent their apologies. They were not able to do this.
Oh, well, I will have to handle it. But thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I introduced myself as Avi Arya, father of 2 girls, 6 dogs, husband to a superwoman, a streetcar racer turned hotelier, now social media marketer and founder of Internet Moguls. And we created a community with my daughters. We're working on this project. I run a digital marketing agency. We work with about 200 clients, and everything has been happening for the last 10 years. But while doing this, I think I became the father that I never wanted to be, the guilty father who's not spending enough time with the kids. So we made a project together, which is called the Internet Moguls of the World, where the girls and I sit down at least once a week and we sort of see who are the people on the internet that we want to interview and all of that. And we interview them. We put it into a book format, podcast, online summit and all of that. So that's the community that we're creating. And so thank you very much for taking time out for this interview.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited to be a part of it. And with 3 daughters of my own, a dog and a wife, a superhero wife like yours, I completely appreciate and align with the objective.
I'm so appreciative of that. Thank you very much. And we'll dive right in. I know we have limited time. I'll dive right in. So David, like I said, I introduced myself as Avi Arya, father of 2 girls. I give you my hero introduction. A new person meets you on a flight and says, hi David, what do you do? How do you introduce yourself? I mean, with somebody who you feel could be a potential business person and all of that, and you have like an elevator pitch, but let's call it an airline pitch, a business person.
My airline pitch starts with I'm an entrepreneur. Started in the internet, became the CEO of the world's first smartphone, later to run Leigh Steinberg Sports Entertainment, the most notable sports agency in the world, where I 11 years ago spun off with the Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon, a notable sports marketing agency, which has evolved into media and a platform with my life's mission, which is to impact over 1 billion people on earth to be happy over the next 60 years. So I have developed a TV show called Elevator Pitch, a podcast called The Playbook. I have 4 best-selling books. I speak around the world. I have an executive business coaching, a top practice to help inspire business coaching. I'm the Chief Chancellor of Junior Achievement University to inspire young entrepreneurs, 15 to 25 years old. I am the chairman of Unstoppable Foundation. Everything I do has 3 objectives. I like to make a lot of money so I can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun.
Wow. I thought I stumped you there by asking you a question that you were not ready for, but you sure seem ready with everything. Right? Yeah. David, you know what? A lot of our audiences who are going to be eventually watching this, we're going to put it into a book format, podcast, invite people for a summit and all of that. A lot of people will have this question, how much time does it take to find the kind of clarity that I found in your last 2 minute introduction of yourself? You said you're so sure of yourself. How much
Yeah.
time does it take to become so certain?
13 years. I went through a quantum transformation 13 years ago, 2 years before I lost everything. My wife, my superhero like yours, brought to my attention that I had lost focus, that I had lost and not taken stock in who I was and what I wanted to become. And so for me, it was a 13-year journey, which will continue for the rest of my life, to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential, to take inventory of myself every day, my personal values, experiential values, giving values and receiving values, to know who I am by having, which is proven today, 2 routines, always a steady routine when everything's going perfectly, and an adaptable routine based upon those values or inventory that I take every day. I created what I call the Meltzer kaleidoscope. I have 3 lenses that I look through life at. One of productivity, how much value or service I can provide for others. The second lens is accessibility. How accessible am I to others to be of service and of help? And how am I accessing what I want? And then finally, most powerfully, the lens of gratitude, that I have and do look through life with a lens of more than enough, an abundant world where there's more than enough of everything for everyone. And those 3 lenses have helped to secure over the last 13 years great clarity, balance, and focus in my life, which brings that confidence. And that's truly the mechanism in the quantum equation that I utilize in order to be me and to feel confident in myself.
Lovely, lovely. So what I'm taking away is that self-realization after an event in your life 13 years ago, and B, the company that they say you surround yourself with people. So your wife came into your life, and you were self-aware of what's happening, and then somebody came and changed your direction. So how much importance do you give to self-awareness, and what message would you give to entrepreneurs 25 and above who are still discovering themselves, and they don't know if it's their own inner thoughts or is it outside noise? That how would you talk to them?
Yeah, a few pieces of advice. One, vote for yourself. What you vote for in your life is what gets elected. And so a lot of times, especially when you're younger, we're voting for what other people want for us, and just because someone loves us doesn't mean they give us good advice. Seek out counsel and mentorship with people who hold or sit in a position that you want to be in, that have that situational knowledge, experience. Maybe they've paid the dummy tax in what you want. And so for me, it's having that clarity of understanding that portion. I'm going to vote for what I want, but still be open to advice from people who sit in the situation that I want to be in. I am always grateful for everyone's advice. I take advice like a handful, the advice to fall through my hand with gratitude. And I always say, oh, that's interesting. Thank you very much. I never resent advice, and I don't want to resent people for giving me their advice, whether I take it or not. A lot of times, as a father, as you know, we take advice from people that we love that don't have situational knowledge, and then we resent them when we elect what they want for us in our lives. And that's a key component of entrepreneurship, is voting for what you want. The second component is time, especially young entrepreneurs. Look, there's no such thing as an overnight success. There are a few anomalies out there in sports, in business, and all types of places where you have younger successes that maybe you can't see, or just quantum in their nature, and they were able to build a business in 9 months, or some of these anomalies like LeBron James in sports that at 19 years old can be a star in the NBA. Yeah. But the 99.9% of us, there's no overnight success. It's an acceleration in growth and enjoyment of consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. So here's what happens, and here's my best entrepreneurial advice, that if you're 18 years old and you want to be an entrepreneur, what happens is by the time you're 28, 10 years later, you're about 25% of the way that you want to be at 28. And your parents and grandparents are disappointed in you. Your friends are laughing and scoffing at you. You may be living on a couch somewhere, or even in a car somewhere. And yet 99% of the people at that 10-year mark or 25% mark, they quit. They start voting for what other people want, and they get a desk job in a cubbyhole, or they quit dreaming and inspiring. And unfortunately, the 1%, though, unfortunately, they've given up. The 1% though that hang on as entrepreneurs, they go another 5 years. So at 33 years old, right? At 33 years old, they're 50% of the way there. It only took them half as much time to get to 50% of the way there. Unfortunately, 99% of the 1% start voting for what other people want. They listen to their parents, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles. The friends are laughing at them and scoffing at them. They may now live in a 1-bedroom apartment, but yet they're only halfway there. But what they don't realize is that 1% of the 1%, they're only 2.5 years away, half the amount of time from being 100% of the way there. So now they're 35 and a half, and everybody's clapping and applauding for them. Their parents, their grandparents were like, I knew you could do it. Congratulations, way to go. And then what's really exciting is in a year and 7 8 from then, they're 200% of the way there, right? And then in half that time, they're 400. In half that time, they're 800. By the time they're 40, they're on the under 40 for 40, Forbes magazine, multi-millionaires, super successes. Everyone's cheering them as long as they stay consistent and persistent in the pursuit of their potential. That's the biggest problem with entrepreneurship, is that people don't allow them to join and to enjoy the journey. They attach their emotions to an outcome that they put time limits on. Time's a man-made construct, and beyond time, they accelerate the exponential attitude with what other people think. Other people are voting the wrong votes in their life, and if they just would have stuck with it, they would have pivoted in the right direction, figured it out. Look, no business starts the way it finishes, right? Yeah, I mean, all the biggest businesses in the world. I would have laughed at Jeff Bezos 25 years ago if he told me his bookstore in his garage was going to be, worth over $100 billion, maybe $1 trillion someday. I would have laughed at him, but he was enjoying the consistent, persistent. He wasn't voting for what Dave Meltzer thought, right? Yeah. He wasn't voting for what his parents thought, and neither was Gates, and neither was Jobs, and neither was Zuckerberg. None of these guys have voted for what their parents wanted. They voted for what they wanted, and they stayed consistent, and they're not overnight successes. It took them years and years and years to pivot and evolve. Google was just an optimization tool when I was on the Silicon Valley years ago. Yahoo was an index. I mean, these companies, you wouldn't even want to know what Salesforce.com was when Benioff and I, there's like 11 employees, and he wanted us to mobilize his Salesforce app. Right, that's a complete CRM platform, a multi-billion-dollar company. So everybody out there, don't vote for what other people want, and allow time to evolve and pivot, and you will be a success at the right way at the perfect time.
My God, I've never had a power-packed answer to a question like this. This has to be put on replay a couple of times during the episode. Thank you so much. It's sort of almost woken me up. It's almost 11:30 at night over here, but it's woken me up. Thank you so much. So, let me ask you, you've been involved in the Silicon Valley. A lot of people can only read about the Silicon Valley in the Inc. magazine or Entrepreneur magazine. Nobody knows what happens there and all of that. So for all the entrepreneurs out here, people feel that there's a magical world out there, and there are different kinds of people, they come from space, and, they know everything. They got it sorted out and everything. Can you demystify the kind of entrepreneurs and their mindsets that allow them to become successful in the Silicon Valley?
Yeah, so the Silicon Valley is a special place that everybody can participate in, right? It's a collective conscious that was created by an atmosphere of investing in yourself. Started with some great educational systems with the Cal Berkeleys and the Stanfords of the world, giving some great resources of intellect and inspiration. And they've evolved to attract more wealth and more of kind of the gold rush spirit. It's really interesting when you look back historically about energy, right? That same area was part of the gold rush. So you have this explorative, taking risk energy. There's a collective consciousness that created Berkeley and created Stanford, and then also created Sand Hill Road, with people that are not afraid, that they practice ending fear, that they're expansive in their nature, they study things like science fiction, and they believe in the manifestation of the imagination, and have read Napoleon Hill and Wayne Dyer, and of the power of intention. So I believe what truly makes the Silicon Valley different is the collective conscious. Now, because that collective conscious has evolved so much, it has extraordinary resources, right? There's extraordinary wealth. There's the right consciousness to complement that wealth. So in order to interact or break through or break into that atmosphere or consciousness, you have to elevate your own vibration to have the awareness to fit in. I've always been that type of entrepreneur, from the time I graduated law school to be rich. So I was an oil and gas litigator. I was extremely focused on just making money, but yet my dad I had inherited from my father this quantum entrepreneurial spirit. I inherit in my DNA. I'm a gold rush guy. And so for me, I went against what my mom voted for. My mom's code moral was doctor, lawyer, or failure. But when I graduated law school, the fetus was fully developed. And I told my mom, you know what? I'm not going to be an oil and gas litigator. I know it pays a lot and it's a stable job, but I'm going to go in the internet. And everyone that was going into the internet in 1992, by the way, the time 1999 came, we all congregated up in the Silicon Valley, all similar spirits, all similar energies and awareness, and we created a collective consciousness that has now elevated and escalated and evolved into an extraordinary opportunity for those people that are willing to share in the awareness. So I know you're from New Delhi, and I spent a lot of time in Calcutta. I just got back actually pre this little re-engineering and repurposing period that we're going for. I was in Mumbai, Vadodara. I actually went to Bhopal and Delhi, but there is a collective consciousness of wisdom, etc. Well, we share that with the Silicon Valley. The spirit and energy, but as you know from coming from India, you can only be aware of that which vibrates equal to or less than you. My entire journey over the last 15 years is to elevate the vibration. So if you can be aware of what's going on, I don't care where you are in the world, you can take advantage of that collective consciousness.
Lovely, lovely. So entrepreneurs of all ages, say that's younger entrepreneurs who just listened to the last section of what you said, to be able to consciously surround yourself with an atmosphere that allows you to win and learn, allows you to keep an open mind, but not necessarily during that time would you have a business that is thriving. So if I want to be part of an ecosystem, as like Silicon Valley or in any other part of the world, I find an ecosystem that allows me to thrive and fly and be myself. And if I don't have a business that allows me to make money, to have the luxury of free time to then also do my meditation and intention and be part of this, I can still take a job in Silicon Valley at a coffee shop, at a sandwich place, and still be part of that ecosystem.
Absolutely. And you'll have opportunity as long as you learn 2 series of questions, right? You could start literally at the Starbucks serving coffee, but if you learn 2 series of questions, you'll elevate your awareness because one, when you ask a series of questions of everyone you're interacting with within that consciousness, how can I be of service and how can I provide value? And then also a series of questions of, do you know anybody that can help me? Right? There's multiple people that start in all types of industries all around the world as nannies, as assistants, and they end up being, look at guys like Scooter Braun with Justin Bieber or Maverick with Ron. These are guys, there's tons of friends that these guys have, but they had a consciousness. They asked for help and they asked also how they could be of service and value, and they brought the service and value as well. They created a void that had to be filled. And you want to give yourself the opportunity, either in person, on the phone, via email or media, radio, print, TV, or social media, to be able to interact and ask those 2 series of questions, elevating your consciousness and allowing you to attract opportunities regardless of where you are at this time. There's multiple people that have expanded and accelerated their careers by putting themselves in the right place with the right people and the right ideas, but none of them would have achieved what they did without asking for help and also providing value and service unconditionally. And that formula works for everyone, everywhere in the world.
Beautiful. It just seems like, I don't know. It's just amazing. It's just every question has such an answer as if you and I are connected on a level that you're like, I knew this was coming. Amazing. Obviously, that comes from years of experience of working at such different amazing levels. So for the young entrepreneurs who are listening to this, put yourself in an ecosystem that allows you to win. And at that point in time, don't judge yourself that saying that, I'm in an ecosystem, everybody's doing well, I might be just starting off. And if you don't have the gumption, or I don't want to say guts, gumption, to be able to put yourself in an ecosystem like that and say, what if this doesn't work? I put myself in an ecosystem, I work at Starbucks and I go to Silicon Valley or any other. Silicon Valley is just a term I'm using for the ecosystem. And in 5 years, I still don't make it and I'm still working at a coffee shop. So I'd rather become a miserable lawyer or a doctor than take that risk. And so the difference between these two lifestyles that I may get, the risk that I might want to take, is the underlying bridge is fear, right? And so
Yeah, exactly.
The kind of entrepreneurs that all over the world, everybody. I know everybody. I've seen how you roll. Do all entrepreneurs at every level of their success find themselves sometimes at that bridge point? Should I remain at this level and still put myself in a bigger ecosystem, or stay comfortable? I mean, is that something? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, there's a spectrum of a blend between the pragmatic world and the faithful world. The ultimate entrepreneurs, the ones that are most successful, must be what they can be. They wake up every morning and they must be what they can be. They enjoy the consistent, persistent, and they don't ever think of a word named sacrifice. They only think of the word called investing in themselves. They don't think of sacrifice. They invest in themselves, but they wake up every morning with a desire that they must be what they can be. And everybody has that blend that even, I'm somebody that must be that I can be, but I have fears. I have times where I must mitigate my risk, and that I have the blend of faith versus the pragmatic world that I live in. But in the end, my decisions are always, I'm investing in myself. The practice that I have is called practicing ending fear. And everybody has fear. If I could give a gift to the world, it would be an egoectomy. Forget trying to cure the coronavirus. It's going to take care of itself. I would give an egoectomy to everyone, taking out fear. But I practice ending fear, and it's a practice every day. People look at my life, and I've been so blessed, not only with health, with family, but financial success and business success and mentoring success and fulfilling purposeful and passionate and profitable life. But I practice ending fear every day, especially now with the repurposing and reengineering that's going on in our world. There's moments of fear, but when you practice ending fear, it's how quickly can I get back to center? And my center is I must be what I can be. I'm an expansive person that's here to provide value. I have a very big mission. Most people, one of my most satisfying things on earth is that, number one, that I truly believe that I can empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And the way I'm going to do that is to impact 1,000 of you, to impact 1,000 more people like your children, who will impact another 1,000 people. 1,000 times 1,000 is 1 million, 1 million times 1,000 is 1 billion. Here's what's remarkable. One, 10 years ago, if I would have told you that I would sit in public and tell people humbly that I believe that I can impact over 1 billion people to be happy on earth and create a collective consciousness of abundance and happiness, I would have told you there's no way I would ever do that. Two, to stand on stages and to be recorded on things like this and ask people, after listening to me, after understanding the vibration in which I transmit my powerful signal, the spectrum of my signal, and the clarity of my message, does anybody out there not believe that I can impact 1,000 people to impact 1,000 people? And it's so much fun to stand on a stage of, 7,000 Denny's franchisees and have all 7,000, when I say, who here believes that I can do this? And all of them raise their hand. And then I say, who here wants to join me? And all of them raise their hand. That's how easy it is. That's what, to me, 52 years old, 13 years of my journey to get here, and another, 29 or 39, sorry, I'm older than I thought, but the other 39 of learning lessons to build a journey of ups and downs and, frustrations and ego, and then to be able to illuminate humbly and tell everyone, I'm the biggest still hypocrite in the world. I'm just on my own journey. Come join me on the journey. Every lesson that I've learned, I forget every day, but I know one thing. We all have the power to access these lessons, even ones that we haven't learned. I live by gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. That's it. And those four things, you would think I would remember every part of my day. I don't. I'm not always gracious. I'm not always forgiving. I don't always aren't accountable, and I'm not always inspired. I just practice it. And I am humbly telling you, it's okay when you're not. Let's all practice together and just get better at it.
Lovely. That was going to be my next question. That you fought off the grid sometime, and you answered that. Lovely. I can't
Awesome.
get into what you said. A true entrepreneur must be what he can be. He doesn't use it. He doesn't think it's sacrifice, it's self-investment, you said. Excellent. Yeah. Now, social media allows you to instantly connect with anybody on the planet, get their energy the way I'm getting your energy, and everybody in the Internet Moguls of the World community are going to get your energy. Me and my daughters have been practicing sending micro videos to people around the world, from Gary Vaynerchuk to Grant Cardone to Pat. I mean, we've been able to connect with, the CEO of Netflix now, and everybody. Ariana Huffington gave us the platform to promote our story. Every single human being on the planet to be by sending. So we send out about 70 odd videos every month, and we get about 15, 20 people who reply, and 7, 8 gracious people like you. Yeah, I think it's all aligned. When the time is right, me and my daughters have the opportunity to be with you. Again, I apologize. They would love to be here. It's just because of whatever's happening in the world, just last minute this fell through. But you have to. I'll send you their video. You have to see the excitement and the bright and the curiosity on their faces when they say, you know what. And my daughter at the end of every interview says, "Do I, see, Dad, see the opportunities that we're creating? We're able to learn from so many people. Can I now leave school?" And I'm like, that's a separate conversation we have to have with your mother. So we just went to the Grant Cardone 10X conference, and we went to Social Media Marketing World, and we learned everything. She's 14 years old. The younger one is 10. Every conference, the girls go with me. I take them out of school, take them for conferences, come back. Because somebody told me, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman. I went to San Diego, and he said, "How old is Raya now, my elder one?" I said, "Raya is now 12. She was 12 then." He said, "Oh, so you have only 6 summers left with her." And that was like somebody giving me a sock in my gut. And I was like, you know what? I need to do something about it. And that's how these ventures came about and all of that. And so they are so deeply, part of my emotional fabric with my 2 daughters that I so appreciate the time that you're taking out to help us in this, in this endeavor. So Michael, like I said, I use social media to build an agency with about 200 people. We work with 700 clients in different parts of the world, help them do digital marketing, automation, webinars, all of that. Now I'm doing this venture with my kids. Everything I was able to do was because my parents gave me so much love. I never thought, I used to stammer as a kid, and all of those, I had a lot of issues, but then you gave out of them. My parents are still, happy and healthy. And every single day, the first thing that my mother tells me is, I love you and you're the best. And just that allows me to say, you know what, I'm going to create a video and send that out to David. And I hope he's going to say yes. And amazing people like you come into our lives. So social media, how would you suggest people today listening to this program, youngsters, new entrepreneurs who, new could be anybody starting at 40 as long as he's new, is using social media. How would you use social media to be able to sort of multiply your awareness, opportunities, all of that?
Well, I can tell you exactly. And I've been blessed. When I went on this journey 3 years ago, Super Bowl 3 years ago, when I traded my services with a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, he started a sports agency, and I was leveraging and offering my services and value to help him build that sports agency. I asked him for help on how to build the social media. And I came working with him and D-Rock and his team, which are exceptional. I've learned 2 different things. One is the stage theory is what I call it. I'm a student of Shakespeare. He always said, the whole world is your stage. Well, never before has the whole world become our stage, because what we want to focus in on is quality content, right? Quality content that represents my frequency. My frequency is a powerful signal that reaches a certain spectrum with a clear message. So what our responsibility or talents need to be is, how can I best capture my frequency? modify it, amplify it on different platforms, doesn't matter which ones, and all of them are fine as well. They just require different capture modification, but amplify that. And then remember the most unique part of social media that most young people don't realize: perpetuation, right? The content that we capture, modify, and amplify is perpetuated so that you don't have to get 1 million followers today.
Right.
When I started 3 years ago, Gary, he's so brilliant, right? In his straightforwardness, he said, why are you, first thing, why do you want to do this? What are you talking about? Why do you want to do this? I said, I'm on a mission to impact over 1 billion people to be happy. Yeah. But you know, why do you want to do it? I said, because all I need to do is get 2 ambassadors a year. And he said, well, there's no ambassadors on the internet. I said, oh yeah, there is. He says, there's followers. I said, followers are bullshit. He goes, oh, I like you. And I said, I like you too. He said, explain what an ambassador is. I said, an ambassador is someone that's going to impact somebody else that impacts somebody else, because I got this 1,000 times 1,000 1,000,000, 1,000,000 times 1,000 1 billion. He says, oh, interesting. He says, well, how many ambassadors do you want in year 1? I said, 2.
Wow.
He said, wow. He goes, I really like you. He said, you want 2 ambassadors? I said, yeah, I want 2 ambassadors a year that will get me 2 ambassadors that will get me 2 ambassadors. He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, I'm 50 years old. You're a genius in your space. I've been called a genius in mine. I said, if we combine together, we can really accelerate this, but all I need is 2 people to get me 2 people to get me 2 people every year. I said, because in year 5, when I'm 55 years old, I'm going to have 64 people getting me 64 people getting me 64. And in 10 years, when I'm 60 years old, I'm going to have 2,000 people getting me 2,000 people getting me 2,000 people. And then in 15 years, when I'm 65 years old, I'm going to have 64,000 getting me 64,000 getting me 64,000 people. And in 20 years, when I'm 70, I'm going to have 2 million people getting me 2 million people getting me 2 million people a year. I'll be more popular than Gary Vaynerchuk. And guess what? I got plenty of time, times infinity in my realm. And what I need to focus in on is, I know the only way I can get 2 ambassadors, 2 people like you that will get your 2 daughters who will get their 2 friends every year. The only way I can do it is to have quality content first, to show my frequency, to, you know, like we said, I must be what I can be. I am only who I am. I don't care. I would rather people hate me for who I am than love me for who I'm not. There's 4.2 billion people out there, and if 3.9 billion of them hate me and 0.3 billion love me, I'm there. If I got 0.3 billion ambassadors, it's just a matter of time before my collective consciousness of gratitude, empathy, or forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration spread the word. If you think coronavirus is contagious, take happiness, man. Take happiness. And if you want to see the counter and literally the virus killer, it's called serotonin. It's the biggest thing for your immune system, and serotonin is released in your system when you're happy.
Right.
And when you give, you become happy. When you receive, you become happy. And when you witness it, you become happy. And when people watch this video, even your 2 daughters who I wish were here, and hopefully someday I can at least talk to them, I know it's going to make them happy, and they're going to make their friends happy. That's the key to social media.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And when you were talking about Gary Vaynerchuk, I had the opportunity to meet him multiple times in his office, restaurant meetings, and all of that. He was in my head. I could hear him in my head saying, you know what, I like you. I can imagine, you know, you and him putting, you know, almost lighting the stage on fire if you go to stage on. Have you ever spoken on stage with him?
Oh yeah, we've shared many stages, and he is one of my mentors. I call him a co-mentor, but I am humbled by his genius of his expertise and situational knowledge, and any opportunity I have, not only to share stages, but you said restaurants or office space. And, you know, I'm one of the few people. I was with him at the Super Bowl. We were sharing the Old Spice booth there, and he was so funny because he kept on going, okay, when are we going to get started? And I'm like, no, dude, we're done. I asked you the 3 questions I had. I don't want to waste your time. I know so many people need to hear your vision and share your vision. I'm not here to waste your time. So we spent a good 7 minutes together. He was like, oh, thank you so much, Dave. I like you.
You know, I remember that's exactly what I did. A couple of years back, I said, you know, these are some of the people that I need to surround myself with. And so I just sent a micro video to his team. And I said, this is, so we actually sent out a team of people to different parts of India. And we said, go and find out if people want Gary Vaynerchuk to come to India. Because I knew he was wanting to come to India. And we said, maybe a research video will be of value to him. So we sent out people to different parts of India. They were going, somebody was taking a vacation, going to meet their parents, whatever. Just called up, said, wherever you are, go out there, ask people if they want Gary Vaynerchuk, put it into a short video. I always resonated with him because he was working with his dad. I was working with my dad, very similar story for a long time. So we put it together in a short micro video, sent it to his team. They said, we love it. You come and meet us. So there was no info, there was nothing about meeting Gary Vaynerchuk. I took the next flight out, just, you know, and even now I say, I send out a micro video. Somebody says, come and meet me. I'm on the next flight tomorrow morning just for one meeting. I'm, you know, because any one meeting.
Well, come meet me soon. As soon as they open our borders.
I would love that. We live in my girls and I, we live in Vancouver and Delhi. I go back and forth. So Vancouver is there, like I said. So we sent him the video. We went there. When his team saw the video right there in the office, they were like, again, blown away. They said, would you love to meet Gary? I said, heck yeah. We went there. 20-minute meeting led to a 1-hour meeting, and that meeting led to another one, that led to another one, and the last one was a couple of weeks back again. So I always tell people that, like you just said, because right now I've woken up. The way you talk, the clarity with which you talk, it just woken me up, and that's why this sudden burst of enthusiasm. But I say that, you know, I need to pray or meditate or, you know, spend time with different people in my organization or home or family or whatever, to be able to build myself into a different energy, to be able to then attract not only what comes to me, but also go out there with a different frequency. I've gone and lost pitches which I knew were coming to me because my frequency went down because of whatever reason. And I've excelled in various situations in life when just my frequency was right now. Business, we work with 700 hotels. We work with every hotel company on the planet. And every single client of us is unfortunately going through this thing. In the last 4 days, I don't think, some of my team members are here with me and, you know, supporting me. And I don't think in the last 4 days I've frowned. I'm concerned, but I'm not devastated like, you know, like maybe I should have been. So, and it's all thanks to the kind of people who've come into our lives and all of that. So before I let you go, I've got 2 more questions. We're almost at the end of this. We spoke about social media. You said first the energy and to reach out there. Don't worry about your followers. Work about the value that you're giving, and you have enough time. Have those 2 people. I'm surely telling you from now on, and I believe it, because you walk your talk. I'm definitely one of your biggest fans right now. We are advocating your story 100% because when you said 2, I was like, hey, he's already got 1, and I've got 2 more people here, and I've got enough people in my organization. So I understand what you're saying. Bring in your best energy to whoever you are. The one thing that I find so similar between you and Gary Vaynerchuk is that when you talk to you, and I'm talking to you, I feel you got nothing else happening in the world, and you have only time for me. You know, there are people we've interviewed, and people are busy and they're preoccupied, and that's fine. But when I'm talking to you, I'm like, I am feeling so important. So I know where you're coming from, and I understand the reason for your success. And thank you very much for that. Okay, so my second last question is, we're going through lots of trials, tribulations, everybody goes through. How important does David feel family could be friends, family could be ecosystem, whatever. How important is a family ecosystem to keep you sane? Because a lot of people get into a shell, they don't share information. I've had so many times, I've had issues when I just don't want to talk to people because I'm like, I don't want to unravel and relive the stresses. So I won't speak to a friend about a business problem. I won't speak to my wife about a business problem because I don't want to relive the stress. That builds up and it doesn't allow me to proceed. And I become heavier, dense as an energy. How important is it to have a family ecosystem around you and share information? And do you have one like that?
Yeah, there's only one thing more important than the family ecosystem, and that's your solo ecosystem. So, and I've shifted that perspective in my life. So I spend a minimum of 1 hour a day on my health, my personal health, for me, before anything else, before I spend time with my family, before I try to make money, before I do anything charitable. Because my wife told me, I came to her after I lost everything and made it back. I said, I would not be here but for you. You are my superhero. You are not perfect, but you are perfect for me. What can I do for you? And she said, take care of yourself.
Wow.
She said, because I know if you take care of yourself, you're going to take care of everyone else. So everyone out there, take care of yourself first, then your family. To me, I spend it, this might sound interesting, but it works. I believe 2 minutes a day of meditation is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. I believe the consistent, persistent behavior and enjoyment of that is the key to life. It's a practice. It works within a conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum. So what I did is I said, okay, after I take care of myself, my family's next. And I don't have anything built up with my family because I spend a minimum of 30 minutes a day with my wife, no matter where I am in the world. I spend a minimum of 30 minutes a day with my 9-year-old son, no matter where I am in the world. I spend a minimum of 2 minutes a day with my 3 teenage daughters, no matter where I am. I asked for 5, they gave me 2. I'm sure you feel that. And then most importantly, I spend a minimum of 1 minute a day with my mother. And as a parent, I make sure I tell my mom 4 things. 1, that I am happy. 2, that I am healthy. 3, that I love her. And 4, that I appreciate her. By telling her that every day, my relationship and bond with her has grown exponentially, even though it's just 1 minute a day. Yeah. By talking to my wife 30 minutes a day minimum, there's nothing built up. So it's just incremental frustration, anxiety, repurposing, and re-engineering. It's not reliving anything. It's just updating a tiny little bit because she's with me every single day with the most prioritized and important things. And I'm able to also be there for her. And so for me, that importance is crucial. And the only thing that goes before it is taking care of myself so I can take care of everything else.
Lovely. Love it. Perfect. Mike, brings me to my last question of this interview. How does David define an internet mogul? We define an internet mogul as somebody who leverages the internet to be able to grow a business, have a freedom lifestyle, work from wherever, and still be able to find time for their family. I mean, that's just one definition. Well, how would you define an internet mogul in 2020?
An internet
Especially
mogul.
We've been around internet moguls since the 1992, since before Y2K and all of that. So would love to hear your definition.
Yeah, 9600 baud modems and XT computers with monochrome screens. I was an internet mogul. But for me, there's one word that defines an internet mogul, and that's impact. Never before has there been an environment or a community so big and so easily connected. You know, at its core, it is impact. An internet mogul should be impacting people with their frequency, with their well-being. And so for me, an internet mogul has nothing to do with finances anymore, but it's what power do you have to impact others? Everything else will come to you. You're just making room for what you want and allow those things to come through you. But impact today is the internet mogul is those who have the most impact. And as you mentioned, some of my friends that are entrepreneurs, some of your friends that are entrepreneurs, even in religious side of things, there's people who utilize their social impact. Those are the true internet moguls.
Love it. Love it. David, by far, you know what, like I said, I'm doing this venture with my kids. We have guests which we choose as co-entrepreneurs because we are equal partners in the business and we make equal decisions. But this was by far one of my favorite interviews because I learned so much. This was learning for me. Like I said, God has blessed us with a small business. We run a digital agency in Vancouver. My dad has a small hotel business that I operate and run for him in New Delhi and on the beaches of Goa here. And my wife runs an immigration. She's an immigration lawyer in Vancouver. So, and on the internet, we have a community of about 100,000 people who we do online courses with, trainings with, and all of that. And that's where this book is going to go out. And these people are all over the world. In these 3-4 small blessings that the God Almighty has given us, anytime, today, tomorrow, day after, next year, 10 years from now, anytime you want to talk to them, you have a new product, you have a service, you have a message, just send us a message. We'll open every door possible for you. And that'll just be my way of saying thank you to you.
Oh, I appreciate it. And the offer comes right back to you with the millions of people that we have through Entrepreneur or my own following, whatever I can do to be of service to help your community or to help share your message. All you have to do is let me know. But I am telling you, when this whole thing opens back up again, you better come visit me in person with the girls.
I would 100% take you up on that opportunity because I'm going there with my co-founders for sure. And we will definitely take you up on that offer.
Perfect. And I'll introduce you to my children as well. And I will learn a lot. Thank you for this opportunity. Please be kind to your future self and do good deeds and be safe and healthy. Thank you.
I will do that. Thank you so much. Really means a lot. Take care.
Vice versa. Thank you. Take care.